I think it's a really interesting training camp because what happened was the Niners wanted Jimmy to play well. That's what they wanted. And they almost tried to speak it into existence. Like the first day, they're like, wow, you should see the look in his eye. It's amazing. The glint in his eye, so confident. And then after like 5 or 6 practices, you had national reporters all over the country saying it's the best he's ever played.
Lights out.
And they didn't even watch it. And so since then, he's tanked. It's been kind of amazing. It's like he does it every day, throws a pick every day. He's got 10 picks, 11 touchdown passes in camp. Does it matter? Like, is he losing this job in camp? Or can you just say, like, well, you know, he's won a lot of games. He's allowed to play however he wants in camp.
Practice always matters. I mean, that's what, you know, I know there's the famous Iverson, you know, practice, we talk about practice, but especially in football, I mean, practice matters. It's very, 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 very rare where you have a player that is a completely different player in practice than he is in a game. When you see something special in practice, it usually translates to games and vice versa. If you see something that's not good in practice, it usually translates directly into games. I've seen it with my experience, and I've seen it with my coaching friends. I mean, I remember when I was in high school when we were undefeated and we had a crappy week of practice, and I remember our coaches hammering us and it's like, hey, you guys are gonna lose to this team. We were playing a bad team coming up, and we did end up losing to that team. Why? Because we had bad practices, and consequently, you can see with Jimmy, right? He throws picks in actual games, right? So this isn't the point,
because I feel like people say like, hey, well, he plays better in games. He's a gamer.
No,
this is exactly how he plays in games.
Yeah, it's exactly how he plays in games. He in practice, he still has trouble completing deep balls. He still he's the same quarterback in practice. And I've said this before on your channel. I don't think he's fazed by like the pressure of moments. Like he'll throw the same amount of picks in the fourth quarter at the end of the game as is in the beginning. I think Jimmy is I think he does keep it. He's a level height. He keeps his composure. I don't think his issue is crapping his pants. I think his issue is that he doesn't make great decisions, and he doesn't have top level arm strength.
I feel like here's the thing. We hold his athletic limitations against him, but I mean, Drew Brees couldn't move that much and had a noodle arm, or however you want to say it. Like Jimmy actually could be a great quarterback within his limitations.
Yeah.
But what I can't get over is how often he throws interceptions for a guy who throws so many safe passes. I just can't get over it. Like I feel like people aren't talking about it enough in this camp. I mean, his interception percentage, I've counted it, is 3.8, which is outrageously high. I mean, it's practice. It's freaking practice. And it's 3.8. The NFL average in games is 2.2. But like his career average is 2.9 with the Niners. And last year it was 3.6. So I feel like this is a trend. And I feel like this is why it does matter. It absolutely matters that he's throwing these interceptions. And I feel like if it carried over from last season, it could carry over to this season. And there's really no decision for the Niners at that point. They could start Jimmy, and then he could give it away with a couple picks in the first half of week 1, the way things are trending.
It's not really, I don't really see it as a carryover. It's just who he is. It's who he is as a player. He's 8 years in the league. I mean, you can look at this you can look at this just as a person, right? Like, at this, he's 30 years old. Like when you're a 30-year-old person, you pretty much are who you kind of are, who you kind of develop. I mean, I know we're talking about as a player, but I mean, you can't expect this guy to turn into something different. And when you're comparing about Drew Brees, that's where the decision making comes into play. But like, yeah, Drew Brees didn't have the arm, but I mean, he was a better deep ball thrower when he was younger, right? But Drew Brees always had the decision making. I mean,
he did. But let me say something real quick about Brees. Like when he was with San Diego, he started 58 games for San Diego. Okay, and then he went to the Saints when he was 27 and had his breakout. Okay, Jimmy's almost 30, and in his career, he has started 32 games in his career. I think to be a great pocket quarterback, you have to get to like 60, 70, 80 starts and get all those experience, those reps. So you see all the coverages, all the tricks, all the pressure schemes. And Jimmy can't, stay healthy or play well enough to get to that number. I think what we're seeing is a very inexperienced pocket quarterback who plays like a rookie still because he's got 30 starts under his belt.
I mean, I thought when I watched Breeze when he was younger in San Diego, I thought that I thought he saw a lot of glimpses of good things. So
he was a Pro Bowler. He was
a
Pro Bowler in 2004 when he was 25.
Yeah, so I think it's
better.
kind of this is kind of apples and oranges conversation a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's Drew Brees.
Yeah, and
But still, it took Drew Brees time to be great, and I don't think Jimmy's ever going to be great, but it would take him time to be whatever he could, like his full potential. He's not going to get that here or maybe anywhere.
I mean, in my opinion, I think he's kind of I think it's reached in more or less. I think it's. I know injuries probably have held him back to some degree, but I kind of think he is what he is, and regardless of how much he's been injured or not.
I think he's regressing because the book's out on him. I think all the DBs on the team know, well, I don't really have to honor these out-breaking routes or these deep routes. I'll squat on all the intermediate in-breaking stuff and break up a lot of his incomplete passes get broken up.
Yeah,
get knocked down.
Absolutely.
So, and I feel like the only way he's going to beat that book on him is to all of a sudden become a super processor of information and just be able to know what the defense is doing before they do it, like Drew Brees. And I don't know if he ever gets there. I'll be surprised.
Do you have your do you take notes about or have his stats what he's been in the red zone practices in practice?
I do. Let me count that up today because he's been awful.
Right, and if you guys all remember, the Niners have had red zone issues, right? They've had red zone issues. Like I think that's a big.
Like 4 or 5 of his picks have been in the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Mullins wasn't any better, right? But you need a quarterback to operate in the red zone. That's where you're going to score points. I think Kaepernick had issues in the red zone. Like that's where you kind of make your money in the red zone. Like you need
no doubt.
Your throws are tighter and more difficult. Everything is shorter. You need to process better. I mean,
that's where you get your touchdowns. I feel like part of the reason that his TD to INT ratio is like 1-to-1, except for that one season in 2019, is because he's not that good in the red zone. And if your TD to INT ratio is 1-to-1, you're a backup quarterback. League average is 2-to-1.
If they're dead set.
Oh snap! That happens sometimes. All right, we'll give him a second to come back, but I think he will come back. You never know. I don't know. I'll just take questions. Oh, he's back. That was good. What happened?
I don't know. The Jimmy G stands coming out.
They just shut you down. It was too real.
If they're dead set on playing him, then I think they need to, when they get in the red zone, they need to put Lance in. He's just better. He gives you the running option, and even when he throws, he's just better at processing and making decisions, and he's going to throw less interceptions I think what it showed is he's going to get you more touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay. So they do matter, Jimmy's practice habits, and I think when you hear the Niners kind of like revise their tone, like we're still trying to figure out who gives us the best chance to win, and we're really impressed with both. I think Jimmy's putting him in a situation where they have to consider starting Trey Lance, whether or not they think he's quote unquote ready, because Jimmy doesn't look ready at all.
No, he looks like the same Jimmy that we've seen for years.